Gabe will put the flag up for us. Maybe.
Flag.
I can put it on my phone.
Yeah, get a flag. Oh, where's my flag? Do I have a flag in here?
Where's my flag?
I should have a flag somewhere. Okay, things to remember in the future.
Okay, well, I have a flag right here. Does that count? Can you see it?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Hey, ready? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Oh, there we go. Now it's on there.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabe. Okay, and our thought for the day or for the week or a month, whatever it takes, it says your body can stand almost anything.
Yes.
It's your mind that you have to convince. So power of positive thinking during these times is very, very difficult sometimes to be positive, but that certainly makes it a lot easier. So if you can do something fun, turn on some music, do some dancing, get a little crazy, it'll make you feel a lot better. Okay, just a few things real quick. We usually have at this time, we'll have announcements, but I just want to remind you to wear face covering of some type. It is $1,000 fine if you're outside and you're not covered. We have 4 new coronavirus disclosures. If you haven't looked them up, they're on zip forms, and those are for residential properties. And number 3, and also property management. Also, just this morning, it was announced 2 new property management disclosures. These all have to do with the virus. We did have a question about best practices in showing properties. Remember, you can virtually show properties. You're not to be on the property. It is a stay-at-home, even though we're essential. Our buyers are not essential, only in the transaction, but avoid any kind of personal contact. Very important. We'll get through this a lot faster. Okay, so having said that, I'm very excited this morning. Our speaker, Aaron Norris, he's the vice president of the Norris Group. His experience includes loan officer, investor relations, business development, as well as marketing. Aaron has been in the real estate field for over a decade, having worked in the construction and design industry before joining the Norris Group in 2005. You'll catch it speaking nationally on topics like real estate technology, innovative real estate marketing, artificial intelligence, robotics, shared economy, virtual and augmented reality, fintech, and iBuyers. Aaron is committed to keeping Main Street real estate investors relevant in the ever-changing real estate investing landscape. Aaron this is going to be very exciting. He did this program especially for us, so please pay attention because he's really awesome. So Aaron, you're on.
Well, thank you, Jackie. And just to make sure, how much time do we have today?
We're going to go until people stop asking questions.
Okay.
So, or you run out of time.
Okay. No,
I think what you have to say is awesome, and we're excited to have you here.
Well, I've got the presentation. I sort of redid everything, and there's just a really interesting opportunity. So I was going to focus mostly on marketing, but I've decided to sort of retitle my presentation "Virus Blues to Opportunity Cues." I think the next few months are going to be a little scary, and there's going to be a lot of unknowns, and it's up to us we're essential. It feels good to be essential. And there's going to be some things that we have a unique opportunity to do if we take advantage of the moment. And I think most people who know me know that I'm a 75% glass full kind of guy. I'm always on the positive side. I'm always looking for solutions and the good angle. So can you guys see my presentation, by the way?
No.
No. Let me see if I can share my screen. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. So I'm a 75% glass full kind of guy. I'll say that out front. So government priorities over the next couple of years. I'll start by saying I was in New York City during 9/11, and everything is sort of going through the feelings of what I was feeling then compared to now, and it is very different. This time in history, we didn't have social media back then. A lot of people didn't like Bush at the time, but it was really interesting to be in New York City and watch everybody rally. The media, politicians, everybody got together, and it feels really different this time. But we just have to understand that there's a few things going on. First, health and safety, they're just trying to lock it down, get it under control, and to give the health sector enough time to adjust. From there, they're focusing on food, shelter, utilities. We're talking about the very bottom of essential needs of being a human is what they're going to focus on. So the government is going to prioritize this. And the interesting about that, we really are essential. Real estate is a big piece of that. And that's got some pros and cons. We're going to be very busy for the next few months. So containment, mitigation, and then we're going to try to open up the economy as soon as possible. So the thing to know right now is that we all need to expect way more money. Today, they start talking about expanding the PPP program with the SBA that they announced a couple weeks ago. They're looking to expand that $350 billion program by, I think they're talking about another $250 billion. I think it's going to end up being more than that. And that's on top of a lot of other things. I'm expecting the government to be spending money on all kinds of things. This last week, they talked about a servicer facility to keep servicers afloat. They're just started talking about buying riskier loans, muni bonds. Like, we just have not seen the end. So for a lot of people that are doing a lot of clickbait stories about how we're going to see real estate prices drop, I'm just not convinced. I want to see us get through this as soon as possible. I think we need to do the lockdown. I really am very proud about the county. I think they've done a really good job. They've done things at our county that led the charge nationwide on things from masks to vacation rentals. They've really been ahead of the game. So the sooner that we lock this down and get it under control, the better. And then the government's going to throw a lot of money at it, hoping that we don't have a recession and that we pick up quickly. When you have the state of California doing things like doing a moratorium on foreclosures and evictions, how do you have REOs? How do you have a lot of have to sell inventory driving down prices? We just don't know yet. So just me, I really wish we had a president that was a little bit more presidential at times. I know a lot in our industry really like him. I'm a PR guy, so I'm really about messaging. He's done better than I thought he was going to do. We need Congress to work collectively with him, and we should be writing letters to our local politicians expecting them to do the same. We need a media that focuses more on data and facts and not clickbait. Will we get it? No. That's the big difference that I'm seeing this time around. And it makes me sad because it makes this more difficult than it needs to be. So for you today, I want you to walk away excited. Like I said, I want to convert you to the 75% glass full club. I want to give you some resources because I think Main Street has an opportunity to kick some butt. And I'll explain that in a second. And then I want to highlight some opportunities to make this a beautiful disaster. So let's get to, I think the last time I was at Tiger, I really backed into this concept of Main Street versus Wall Street. There's been a lot of Wall Street money that has entered our space over the last 5 years, a lot of cheap money trying to disrupt. They've been under models that didn't have to make money, which was really frustrating. But this is where Main Street really shines. There's no amount of artificial intelligence technology that Wall Street has that is going to save their bacon right now. I'm writing an article for Think Realty magazine called Wall Street, Will They Return? And I've been interviewing several people in the Wall Street lending space, the crowdfunding space, and there's so many unknowns. So a lot of the games that have been going on, they've been focusing on words like scale and vertical integration. Isn't it interesting that the iBuyers almost immediately completely froze at a time when their service could actually be used for people who really did have to sell? They're out already. And this is just the first month. That's crazy. So let's look at the iBuyers real quick. These are the first top four were the ones that were actively moving ahead. They've been buying, like OfferPad started buying out here the earliest, but all four, Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow Offers, and Redfin has stopped their buying. As of a couple weeks ago. They're just no longer moving forward with their instant offers. Keller Williams had not, to my knowledge, been buying out in the California area just yet. They had done 100 transactions, but I didn't see where they were doing those, but it's just interesting. All of them already out. No idea when they're going to return. Keep in mind that companies like Open Door were spending millions of dollars advertising, millions. Just overnight, I don't know what they're going to do. They were spending millions on paid ads online. They were spending millions on direct mail. The amount of money that they were spending was just phenomenal. So when you look at the national market share of how much they were spending, this is Mike, I think it's Delpreet is how you say his name. He's the one tracking this nationwide. I was focusing more on California, but here you can see sort of the market share, 60,000 homes, 8 billion. They're only 0.5% of the market, but Zillow had just got hot and heavy in California starting late last year. So they're out. So if you have real estate investors as clients, or you yourself as a real estate investor, you know, when I gave this presentation to Tigar, I think it was within the last 6 months, actually, I sort of presented this as what we both do, what Wall Street does, and what Main Street does. What we both used to do is we offered speed, cash, low fees, flexibility, and privacy in an as-is transaction. They are no longer doing that. Wall Street, where it was able to operate on no profits, spend a ton on marketing, and they were driving a technology to get all this stuff done. They're out. So all of a sudden, the Main Street local real estate investor with boots on the ground is the only one who is going to be providing that speed, cash, flexibility, privacy. And they've always been able to do heavier rehabs. They do nicer design. They're focused on more creative transactions. And most importantly, we hire local, we give local, and our focus is typically to sellers that are going to be owner occupants. So I'm excited for Main Street investors. They've been really squeezed on margins by Wall Street that has been throwing a lot of money at the market, and they're out. It's your time to shine if you don't get scared. That's what it comes down to. So now we've got the real estate disruptors. Purple Bricks was out as of last year. They folded in 2019. I thought really early considering the market. Redfin just announced this last week. They're laying off 41% of their agents. Compass Rex, EXP Realty, they seem to be going strong, but it just depends on all their models right now. They've been trying to disrupt, but who could have seen something like this company coming? But from the realtor standpoint, you know, you're both always going to have the listings, the photos, the data, the market analysis. And the Wall Street, again, they just had all this money in technology stacks, and they're actually trying to cut out the realtor as part of the process. And all of a sudden, Main Street realtors, you get to show exactly why you're needed. I spoke to a very large lender that lends all over the country. I'm like, I can't imagine being a lender, a hard money lender specifically, that lends all over the United States, because I'm watching what's happening in California when Newsom announced the moratorium on foreclosures and evictions, and then gave permission for each of the city to create their own variations of that. Holy cow. If you're a lender and you don't have the boots on the ground knowledge that our Main Street brings to the table, how do you manage that? Overnight, you have to have a loss mitigation department and have to have local knowledge of the local level that's changing every day. Wow, that is just crazy. So I really don't know how Wall Street keeps up with all of this. And I think that's going to probably stall them from coming back to the market very quickly. They're going to be focused on loss mitigation for the next 90 days at least, unless something magically pops up that solves the virus, whether it be antibodies or something that allows the economy to rip roaring really quickly and consumers just dive in like nothing happened. I don't know. Maybe we're all desperate from being locked inside our homes for 60 days. We just want to pretend this is all done. Who knows? How do you continue operating when you've been reliant on cheap money that no longer sees a priority in you? So some of these Wall Street lenders in particular were reliant on very cheap credit lines of credit. Some I got notice, a realtor sent me a tape of $250 million worth of loans where the Wall Street lender was taking a 70% cut on a loan pool because they had used a credit facility and there were margin calls because of the drop in the stock market. So the loans were current, they were fine, but they had to cover their margin calls. And so they were taking a 30% cut in principal just to be able to pay off those margin calls. That's painful. I don't know if that money will ever return. And it also depends on who's holding the bag. So you might not care too much about this in the real estate space, but I want you to know that it's been happening. I'm regulated by the CFPB, as like many of you who are lenders in the space. In MLS, it's a pain in the butt. In Florida, I'm more heavily regulated, actually. Well, I got approached about a year ago from a company, an intermediary, where they wanted to do, so say I do a fix and flip loan and the rate is 9% interest for a year. This intermediary would take it from me, buy it from me at a 7%, and allow me as the originator to keep 2%. They would then take on a lot of debt, package up a mortgage-backed security of hard money loans, and with a lot of leverage so they can buy as much as possible, and then they pass it on to places like pension funds. Now, the pension funds took these down like they were bond-rated paper, like AAA, super secure. I think when all this fleshes out, a lot of these people are going to look at what they really own and say, was the risk profile appropriate? Is this really a AAA rated kind of situation? Or was I just so desperate for yield that I was making stupid decisions? And I think more oftentimes than not, that's where they're going to land. So I don't think Wall Street, I think they will be back. I just think it's going to be different. So the next 60 days, our job, we just got to hold it together. We got to get out there, stay on top of the moving parts. We have to position ourselves as experts and be a resource for our clients. We had another 6 million unemployment claims filed as of last week. It's going to be crazy. In the county, Riverside County is one of the first, as I know of, that did this. They banned vacation rentals unless it somehow has to do with COVID-19. If you've got somebody that needs the shelter in place, what Riverside County was attempting to do is stop hotspots like Los Angeles from they were making the news because they were going to the mountains and the beach and Palm Springs, trying to, get away from their urban existence to protect themselves. And our county said, yeah, you're adorable. Thanks, not so much. So how many investor clients do you have, especially that are out of the county? You probably have several clients if you work with real estate investors that live along the coast and invest in the Inland Empire. Are you keeping them up to date? Is what you need to be focused on. Moratoriums and evictions. It happened at the statewide level, and then the Judiciary Council on Tuesday threw everybody in a whirlwind, basically saying there's a moratorium until further notice, and then there's a countdown as soon as the state lifts the state of emergency before any of that can start again. Absolutely crazy. And then you've got the local overlays. So I know for the city of Riverside, they did a 6-month repayment program. So if you're working with real estate investors that are out of the area, you are going to become an absolute godsend for them, because our local media is weak. I'm not trying to bag on the press enterprise, but we don't have, I live in the complex. We work in the complex where the press enterprise is. They are a fraction of what they used to be. And they have very few reporters covering the Inland Empire anymore. You're probably on the city's contact information, the county, anything real estate related. You're probably getting all those emails where your clients won't be. All they can do is go to pe.com and try to absorb what the media there can cover. You're going to be a better resource than the press enterprise, most likely. Be aware. Oh, I meant to bring this up really fast on the vacation rentals. You as a realtor can't get caught marketing these either, or you might be in line for a fine. I hope that's gotten out there. I would hate to see any of our network get in trouble for doing that. So we've got the banning of the short-term rentals, the fines up to $1,000 a day if you get caught doing it, and possible jail time. So it's that serious. So just be careful. There's been lots of rumors going around in my real estate investor industry, things like title issues, hard money. There's been rumors that some title companies would not accept hard money. I'm letting you know that's not true when it comes to us, but we talked to at least one title company that said we were the only ones that they would currently be working with because our longevity and how we fund and our relationship together. That was interesting. Potential recording issues. So if you're not working with a title company that has the ability to do electronic filings, or the county that you have to be working in doesn't allow that, you might run into some issues. Notary is an issue, but the California Land Title Association said that we could use, what do they call it? A remote notary. If it's available in another state and it's allowed there, and in our case, we can do that. So that's good to know. At least we have a backup. I think they're still possibly working on that. We'll see. And then, of course, we're all having to deal with the concept of fraud. I can't tell you how many emails that I've gotten in the last in the last week alone. So just be careful out there. It's just a little scary. Well, one of the things that you could really do, which for your clients, and I'm going to give you some ideas for marketing later, is really try to stay on top of the tax changes in the financial aid categories, because not only will you probably be able to help yourself, you might be able to get a little bit more dangerous in helping your clients navigate through all these changes. So the stimulus check, did you sell a property in the last year where your client you think has a good chance of getting this aid, you know, a $1,200 check if you're single, $2,400 if you're married? Yes, there are thresholds, but if they don't change their address or they haven't filed taxes, their check might be end up going to another location. It's just a simple form 8822 with the IRS. Great way to reach out and say, hey, just curious, did you file your taxes yet? If not, you know, you might want to consider filing this form to make sure the check ends up in your hands as soon as possible. Tax deadlines extensions, yes, they have. The only thing that I'm watching that's important to the investor community, as far as I have seen, 1031 exchanges, opportunity zones, those things have not changed. So I'm building a lot of houses in Florida right now for real estate investors moving from California out there, and we're proceeding per usual. So you've got 45 days to identify and 180 days total. I think that'll probably change because of the national state of emergency, and a lot of states have already declared a state of emergency, but it hasn't come out yet. You just need to know. Retirement accounts. You can end up borrowing money from retirement accounts. So as you're talking to clients and maybe they're in financial distress, we're actually covering this on Friday with Karen Hall of UDirect. We're going to do a full session for a radio show. We'll have it out for free. She's on the Retirement Industry Trust Association, and we're going to walk through what you can borrow, how to document that. We've even had conversations of if you invest, like I have a rental in my Roth IRA. If I'm investing in an IRA and can I apply for some of this financial aid through the SBA because my income isn't impacted? The answer from the CPA that we did the 2-hour session with last week, that is for free on our radio show right now, is possibly. That's interesting. So that's pretty cool. Let's go to the SBA. I'm not going to get really into the weeds of the PPP and the EIDL program, but I just wanted to bring it up. So the CARES Act, of course, we know came out. Again, I think this is just going to be the first round. You can apply for both loans and decide which one you want later on. Just because you apply doesn't mean that you have to do it. And generally speaking, the payroll protection program is for active businesses with payroll or self-employment income. So that might apply to you. And the EILD program is going to be probably more appropriate for like rental investors if you're working with them. So let's quickly, the EIDL program, who is eligible, it's going to be sole proprietor, self-employed individuals, and businesses with under 500 employees. And it's really used for help overcoming temporary loss of revenue. This is the one where you could get, you know, $10,000 within 3 days. I'm just seeing on Facebook a few people getting through the process of getting some of these, but I haven't seen it in mass. So we'll see. This is the one where you apply directly at the SBA.gov website, and the direct link to the whole area is sba.gov/disaster. Okay. I don't feel very well knowledgeable enough in all these programs to speak in depth on them. I've listened to 5 hours already, and I'm going to sign up for more. I'm trying to learn as much as possible. The Paycheck Protection Program, this is the one that you're going to be working directly with your bank. And I think most banks are approaching this. If you're a depository client with them, they're going to be working with you. It's going to be difficult to show up to a new bank and try to apply for these loans. So who is eligible? So proprietors, self-employed individuals, and businesses with under 500 employees. And the whole game here is trying to keep people employed. So if you have people on payroll and you're trying to cover costs, this is a program that you need to look at, but you're going to need to be really organized. One of the best ideas I've heard around this program is to open up a different bank account, because you're going to want to keep very detailed accounts if you end up getting this loan, that you are in fact spending it appropriately. There's a piece of this that can be forgiven by the federal government. We'll see details as that comes out. We taped the original session starting at 8 a.m. last Friday Took us 2 hours to tape, and by the time we were done taping the show, changes had already come out. So that's no fun. The loan proceeds from this program is going to go for payroll, employee benefits, healthcare, rent, utilities, and mortgage interest. So please do that as soon as possible. Look a little bit ahead. You may not need to have that this month. Just because you raise your hand and you apply doesn't mean that you have to take the loan. It's just there just in case. I'm a 75% glass full kind of guy, but be careful, protect yourself. Some of this is going to be structured as repayment as well. So, it's not all free. So know the risks before you go in. I think we covered enough about how to apply for these with your local bank. Pacific Premier, I know, is doing it. I've got messages from US Bank is doing it locally. So get out there, do what you can to help yourself and get knowledgeable enough to know where the money is coming from and how people might be able to apply. The 2-hour program that we did with Keystone CPA, they really specialize in the real estate arena. Amanda Hahn, that was on the show, she writes tax books for Bigger Pockets, and she's just a really great resource. It's free if you go under the norrisgroup.com under the radio. The very first option is radio archives. It's under there. All of our COVID related stuff. All we've been doing is trying to hop around and get really solid, juicy, detailed information on as much as possible on all the stuff that can help our network. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. So with that, I want to move into the 10 pandemic to-dos. Thinking about some things while we're locked up in home, just sort of gloating because we're considered essential, but how to turn, this into a beautiful disaster. I think this is funny. I didn't grow up with Elf on the Shelf, but I have some people in high school who just make my day. And since it was a toilet paper themed one, I thought I'd share. You are going to see the best and the worst in people in the next 60 days. Take notes. You're going to see terrible clients that you're going to want to fire, tenants take advantage of people. If you follow me on Facebook, you probably were, I got called a few days ago by a real estate investor, in air quotes, that had inserted herself, was trying to blow up a transaction. They were in escrow. It was a large lot with 2 properties on it. And she disclosed to me that she needed a hard money loan. She was trying to scare the buyer away. She was feeding the tenant information to forestall the eviction. As a backup plan, she said that she had gone down to the local building department and she had told, basically, if anybody called on the property, the caller was going to be told there was a pending historic designation coming on that property. She then admitted to me, she just kept going. It was fascinating. She said, once I get the loan, she went to school, I guess, with the person, the renter that she'd been feeding the eviction information to. She was going to rat him out for known controlled substances on site that she was aware of and let the police deal with it. And I politely told her, I have no desire anymore to be speaking with you. I can't believe you would do anything like that. And she hung up on me. So I immediately called the broker that was involved. I did a white pages and a reverse number lookup, found out who the lady was, and told the broker everything that was going on. I'd never taken a phone call like that. So now is the time to protect ourselves. You get to see exactly who people are. Take notes. People won't remember what you say, but they will remember how you make them feel. Brentley with Windermere Properties stopped by. He's a friend of mine. My birthday was March 31st, and he stopped by, social distancing. Even he dropped off cookies for my birthday. I almost wanted just to jump on top of him. He bought all these really great cookies and was stopping by clients and just dropping them off for people and saying hi. And it was a really great break in my day. He made my birthday a little bit better. He also blessed the cookie company that needed the business. So in just one act of kindness, it kept spreading. It was pretty great. We've sort of gone on a lot about becoming a resource on the financial side. You're going to have a lot more access to the local stuff than if you're working with people out of the area. That's going to be really important. Do your homework on 211. I happen to be the board chair of 211 of Riverside County. It's a health and human services hotline that also runs the suicide hotline for the county of Riverside. Just be aware their phones are really busy. It's really blown up, and they are back up to 911. But they have a database of over 1,000 nonprofit programs So if you've got, somebody in Palm Desert that's looking for food, they might be who to contact or go on their website to look for, a food pantry. They try to deliver the resources as close to the activity as possible. Give good phone. I told Janessa that there was naked butts. This made me laugh. When you're working from home and have a video conference call, that's not me, I have pants on right now, but the concept of giving good phone is from a friend, a real estate investor named Tony Alvarez. Get off social media, authentically connect with people, and do so with no agenda. The family members that you haven't talked to in a long time, the clients that you haven't reached out to, and do it without an agenda right now. It's just now is the time to step up and play that because people need it. Thank you cards to first for first responders, which now includes, grocery store and service people at drive-through windows, anybody on the essential services list. I put a little picture of all the cursive writing, because if you're like me and you just haven't been handwriting a long time, I've actually forgotten how to do some of these letters. It's been a really long time. Write thank you cards or letters to clients, the family. Have your kids do it. Keep them busy. Have your kids make some money by writing some letters for you. I got a birthday card from a niece that's like 4, and it just better than any Hallmark card. Just fantastic. Number 5, rate small businesses. Authentic love messages for your local businesses really help them long term, and it will just bless them. Just go on, leave a video, talk about your favorite food, your favorite server, why you've been using them for 20 years. It really helps local businesses, and I don't think a lot of our network understand how important it is to showing up in social. And I know I've talked to you guys about this before, the concept of voice search optimization. When somebody asks these voice assistants like Alexa, for us, where's the nearest realtor? How is it deciding which 3 it's going to say out loud to the consumer? You've got to figure it out, but it's ratings that are driving some of those. So Google, Facebook, Yelp, wherever you get a lot of your notifications online, just go leave it for, some of your favorite businesses, whatever category that may be. Number 6, watch your algorithms. Man, I'm seeing people post some really crazy stuff out there. And there are some marketers that believes that being divisive leads you into creating more of a tribe, and it's really good for marketing. It's good, but I don't think a lot of people are consciously making that decision. You're just being a jerk on social media, posting whatever is in your echo chamber. And the echo chamber this is how an algorithm works. It's trying to find out what you like to keep you on there as long as possible. So today, when you're absorbing whatever social media platform you're on, be very cognizant of what it's delivering to you. If it's a lot of fear, hate, divisiveness, blame it on yourself. And I'm not kidding. You need to start looking at cat videos, cooking videos, sharing some love, because until you do that, you are in the echo chamber of the dark side. And that's just how it works. You might really love it, or you might not even know it's happening, but that's how those algorithms works. And I want to bring that up because for people who are in that space, it's dark, it's lonely, suicide has gone up, people are isolated, they're scared. You just need to know that that's going on, because people sometimes won't be rational. And by sharing positivity, if they're connected with you and they share that and you make them laugh, again, people are going to remember how you make them feel and what you're posting. If you're posting a lot of political stuff, the latest clickbait that's out there in the media trying to throw everybody under the bus, I just don't know what to tell you. It's just a dark place, not fun. Just the tip, one of my favorite high school sayings of all time, always makes me laugh. But I'm applying it this time to tipping the front line. Be gracious, be patient, and tip the heck out of your frontline folks that are putting themselves in harm's way to keep us fed, to keep us safe. It'll go a long way. Support your seniors, technology assistance games. If your kids are driving you absolutely nuts, drive them over and make them weed grandma and grandpa's front yard. That'll get them quiet at home. Make them real interested in schoolwork all of a sudden. Just don't forget about them. It's a lonely, scary time for them, especially for people, not just seniors, but anybody in a high-risk category. It's just very isolating right now. Support your seniors. Number 2, there's an entire generation of 6th, 8th, and 12th graders, and for that matter, college graduates that are missing their graduations. And that's a bummer. You think about how hard people work for that sort of the final moment you get to shine, and you're getting robbed of that. It's a bummer. There's a really cool campaign by a Broadway star named Laura Benanti. She's also on TV. She's a fantastic Broadway star. She's a great singer, very funny. She started a hashtag called Sunshine Songs, where kids that were missing their final performances throughout art could post online, and she would like them and share them. And if you need an example of what positive looks like, check that out. Go on social media and use the hashtag Sunshine Songs and see what they created. It's pretty cool. And number 10, that honey-do list. Any list will do. So get organized, focus, galvanize, just get it done. If you create a list once a day and do at least one thing, so you're not just binging on social media that's making you feel junky the rest of the day, hopefully that'll help you. I have a planner that I use and I'll show you, I'll bring that up in a moment, but it really helps me sort of stay focused and make sure I'm moving the needle and getting stuff done so I don't get down. This is the bonus, the garage sale of life. And what are the people, places, and things that are taking up your energy and resources? This could be financial, time wasted. It sounds really crass, but now's a really good time to reflect as people are showing you the best and worst of themselves. Seriously, focus on your inner circle. Who are you going to keep? Who are you going to donate? And who are you going to toss? I'm sort of not kidding. This is the trio that I think I talked to you guys last time I was around. The Miracle Morning, the High Focus Planner, and High Performance Habits. The combination of three, I got more done in the last 2 years than I had in the previous 10. It's been pretty spectacular. So if you're looking for an assignment to sort of be more positive and focused, maybe think about doing that. Could be sort of fun for you. I'm going to go through this really quick and we'll start taking some questions. I talk about marketing through this lens right here. I know you guys have seen me do this. It's sort of they call it the SOAP method: paid, owned, shared, and earned, and the different kinds of marketing. And in the middle is this authority. When you can sort of balance all these and you can be seen as the authority in the space, that's what I'm always aiming for. So with the current situation, let's go to sort of brand building. Now's the time. You've got some time. You're at home. Look at all your different channels. Make sure they look good. It's high quality photos, consistent branding. Really focus on your funnels. How are you taking, when people land on your site, what's the call to action? Why would they sign up to be on your mailing list or your emailing list? What do you have to offer them? Really think about that sales funnel and how they're driving them to where you, on channels that you control, like an email list, how are you getting them to do that? With the shared stuff on social, same thing, really focused on the brand look and feel so it matches all your personal branding on your website, even carrying over into print. I mean, companies spend just billions of dollars on marketing. I think one of the jobs that I learned the most at was a Wall Street firm in New York City, where I handled merger and acquisitions. And the amount of money they spend on consistent branding is incredible, and we should be doing the same. Just make sure you understand that on the shared channels like social media, Facebook, YouTube, they won't always be there. And if you're building your entire business on a platform that you don't control, it's just dangerous. So that's why I was talking about a funnel. How do we get somebody from Facebook over into an email list for you? Let's go to earned or public relations. I belong to the Public Relations Society of America. I've been building relationships with journalists for over a decade. That's led me to writing for Forbes and several different national magazines. It takes time, but I don't want people to think that you have to be in Forbes to make a difference. You could be in the local HOA newsletter. You could be on the back of the announcements bulletin at church and make a difference. So don't think you have to go crazy and spend a lot of money getting out there. And paid. One of the interesting things about everything going on right now is paid advertising actually might get more reasonable. When Wall Street started entering the market, I had to report this one Wall Street lender at least twice a year because they were actually using the Norris group in their paid ads, which is not allowed. I emailed them and said, hey, you probably hired this marketing company and you don't know what's happening. I have an email saying, nope, we're going to do whatever we have to do to take your business. I said, okay. So they drove up advertising, paid ad prices, and then they were also shady doing it. So yeah, there's no love lost for some of these Wall Street people who have not been good to our community. Sorry about it. I'm just not here for it. So paid advertising is going to be a little bit cheaper, at least for the foreseeable future, which is really good. Hey, look at the last 10 deals that you've done. Where did you get those leads? Just do a lot more of that and refine that process before you try something new. Just make sure you really nail what's already working for you, and then expand as you see fit. With that, I think I've really just did some different things, a little bit less on the marketing front, and I hope that's okay. And willing to take some questions if you'd like.
Okay, I am not seeing anything on Q&A yet. So type your questions, people. And let me just double check chat because sometimes people throw their questions in there.
Nothing on chat.
What is the form? What is the form to change the address? Adriana, I believe that is the 8822 form. It's an IRS changes of address form. Yep, there you go, form 8822. You answered yourself. Let's see if there's anything higher up.
Oh, we got one question here. How long do you think this crisis will go on for after the pandemic quarantine is lifted?
Oh, you know what? If I knew that, I would be a very rich guy. What I'm waiting for is how well we do as a state, controlling the spread, because they really don't have a plan on how to get the economy back up and running. And what's interesting is, from a PR guy, I sort of step back and I'm watching what's going on in the media, and I see what Trump is trying to do. He's a business guy. He's trying to get businesses back up and running, and it's not just for the sake of stock market prices. Humans weren't meant to stay at home for 60 days by themselves. That's not how we operate. I'm already going nuts, and I'm an essential worker and I'm at work today. There's two of us here, but I'm isolated in a wing by myself. It's terrible. But I see what he's trying to do, but at the same time, the health community is saying we have to be careful, because we we flatten the curve doesn't mean it can't explode again. So there's got to be some kind of, whether it's the antibody thing that they're running after, whether it's the medications that can make the symptoms less impactful for people who get it, because I don't think anybody has said that we're going to end up with a shot that we're going to get that's going to make us immune to this for some time. So I'm waiting to see that. Once that happens, I'll feel a lot better, because we can turn on the economy. The sooner the better. I don't know when that's going to be.
Okay, Lisa Green asked, what is the TNG radio channel we should be following?
You know what? We were on KTIE 590 AM for the longest time. And now, if you just go to your favorite podcasting service, I'm actually here in the studio today. So we brought it entirely in-house. The kind of guests that we get nationwide, it was just really hard to manage their schedule with the radio and ours. So we do everything in-house now. So it's all free. You could even read our radio show on our blog. All the podcasting services are out there, and we also publish on YouTube and Facebook. So wherever you like to absorb your information, we're probably there.
Nice. Okay. And this one says, if you had a property you needed to sell within the next year and had planned on selling it this spring, would you put it on the market now or would you wait and see?
Depends on the price category. It's a great question. We're doing something next Monday called Investor Town Hall, where we have our friends from Sacramento, LA, Orange County, San Diego, and everybody sort of has 15 minutes to talk about specific markets. From what I'm hearing, it's too early to tell, but for things under those FHA limits, the loan limits, those seem to be doing better. Like right now, anything in the jumbo space, I would just be a little nervous about until the government comes up and just tells us they're going to be spending a lot of money buying jumbo mortgages. I just don't know how that works itself out. That's a layered problem. But for anything under local FHA limits and in that first-time buyer category, those are going to move faster. You might have to get creative otherwise. Don't know if that helps, but it's really the credit markets right now that I'm waiting for. Interesting though, the area that we're building in Florida, I was there a couple weeks ago. We had to cancel an investor trip out there, which I was bummed about, but I was worried we wouldn't be able to get out of there. I did, but what was happening is that their season for visitors was ending early, and while people were leaving, they were writing offers. So we had stuff that all of a sudden was getting 4 showings in a day when they hadn't had 4 showings in like a week, especially in that affordable category. So I think people are still moving. Is it going to slow down? Yes. I think credit right now is my focus. Non-QM product, gone. Until the government steps up and decides to buy that stuff, we're going to have a hard time.
Just to follow up what he was asking, it's 250 in Rosemont.
You know what? What's the harm of trying? Does it have a tenant, Jeff?
Yeah.
If you've got a tenant, you've got a problem. You do. You're going to have to find an investor. If that's the case, and you need to leave the tenant in place, because I only know this because I'm dealing with a lot of investors with 1031 exchanges that are blowing up right now. Got to get creative. Yes, there is a tenant. Yeah. What
Yes,
get them to move?
there is a tenant.
You know what? Oddly enough, you send this email. I'm on an investor list. I just got a 1031 emergency exchange. Unfortunately, they need to spend $4 million, and they want to buy 2 properties with that amount. But talk to people who do exchanges. Try to connect with your local real estate investment group. There are people out there that want to buy with tenants in place, especially if they're paying tenants. So we just all have to assume everybody's going to be asking a lot more questions. So it's probably not that they've just been paying now. Will they pay in the next 6 months? We'll see.
Nice. Okay. Do you think real estate prices on homes will go down?
They may a little bit, you guys, but honestly, I don't know. I'd be most worried about the coastal regions and the higher end market where financing is harder to come back. If you're buying a $5 million home, is that really the government's priority? Probably not. So
No.
I'm a little bit more nervous about the higher end stuff than I am the lower end stuff at the moment. And again, with a foreclosure moratorium, we already knew during the last downturn what the government, they went, look at what they did to make sure people did not lose their homes. They are even more motivated right now to get the economy. This is nobody's fault. We had a great market right before this. People actually had to qualify. There weren't crazy loans going on for the most part. People have equity. So I think we're way better protected. I know there's a lot of articles going around that, oh, it's the next, big Great Depression. I'm just not buying it yet. If this goes on for another 60 days with no clear trajectory of where we're going, I'll worry then. But I've been preparing for the last 2 years. All my stuff was in California. I'm half and half now in California and Florida. And the stuff I got rid of, it was appropriate. We've been trying to tell real estate investors for the last 2 years, if you've got all your stuff in one city like the Inland Empire, 1970s, with tenants that would have a problem during a downturn pay, you're doing it wrong. I have investors that are sitting on properties that they bought in 09 that have quadrupled in price. So, we just have to be a little bit smarter and just be careful. I don't see a ton of price damage just yet, but I'm waiting to see.
Awesome. Okay. Bunker is asking, Aaron, what are your thoughts on rates and the future forecasts in your crystal ball?
Oh, I'm so glad you guys think I have a crystal ball. I just closed a loan in Florida. My original quote as a real estate investor, I'm approaching my 10 limit. I ended up closing at a 4.75% rate on a 30-year note on a non-owner occupied home. Amazing. I'm not greedy. One of the things you have to get really good at talking to your clients about is don't be stupid. These are lifetime low interest rates, even at 4.75%. Will it go lower? Yes. If I had to buy an owner occupied home, if I could wait another 30 days, I probably would. Because right now they're just struggling to keep up with all the demand. But I would also sort of want to get in line. They're hammered. All the lenders that I know are just struggling to stay on top of it. But if you've got a good credit score, you've got a property that falls under sort of in that first time buyer category, man, what a a crazy opportunity. Before this sort of all hit the fan, I had somebody tell me they got a 2.75% rate for 30 years. That is amazing. So yeah, we do think it's going to go down. Look at all these trillions that the government's writing. Do you think they're going to want to raise interest rates when they're just throwing trillions at this issue? I don't think so. So I think the mortgage market will definitely eventually catch up. It's just going to take some time.
Okay, what do you think the future of brick and mortar buildings will be now that we have had a taste of virtual business? Is commercial changing?
It was already changing. Could this make it go faster? Possibly. You know what? Take your own temperature. How do you feel being locked up right now? I hate it. The extrovert inside me is just absolutely dying.
Yes.
I just
Miserable.
don't think we're meant to live like this. What's interesting is I belong to the National Association of Real Estate Editors, and every year they have this amazing event where it's 3 days, and hour after hour there's just a room of anybody who writes in real estate, from the Wall Street Journal to Bloomberg to you name it. We're all nerding out because they have all the major players in all these different categories. And actually, one of my favorite conversations was the commercial panel, talking about how hard they're working to introduce health and wellness into design, because of how we are as humans. So this one very large mixed use commercial building had a tree swing out front. They're trying to make commercial buildings more human. So I just think it's changing. I think it was already changing. Look at malls. Malls are dying, but they're going to do other things with them. They've already been under renovation. If they're not being bought by Amazon, stores are having to rethink their brick and mortar existence, but that's okay.
Yes, I am too an extrovert and I am going crazy.
Right.
Okay, expand a little bit on the bed and breakfast dilemma going on. I have a lot of investors who just started this kind of investing. County of Riverside, will it continue to ban these Airbnbs, or is it just for the sake of the pandemic?
Oh, okay. This gets into an ADU conversation. When the state government started to play in the ADU space, they basically invited all counties and cities to outlaw vacation rentals. So outside of the pandemic, you just need to have a very honest conversation with these investors and say, you need to come up with a plan B, because as they rewrite their ordinances, and some of them even, they're not compliant still with the ADU laws that went into effect in January 1st. The state basically said, yeah, ban 30-day or less vacation rentals. The pandemic angle is they're just trying to stop people from hotspots coming in and parking it in our mountains and Palm Springs to get away from the virus, potentially bringing it with them into areas where you've obviously got a larger senior population. But this is a way different conversation. So plan B is co-living, senior housing co-living, special needs co-living, graduate students. There's ways that you can make more income. Will it be at the levels of a vacation rental? Possibly not, but man, that's brutal. If you've got 3, and then look at what Temecula did. I think it was a couple months ago. They just said effective immediately, vacation rentals are illegal. Like moving forward, you could have already been fined before the pandemic. So again, you really have to know the local laws, and it's local, and everybody's changing and updating it, and it's not just because of pandemic.
Okay. Steve Bussman, our speaker chair, wanted to say thank you again for your time today. It was much appreciated.
Of course.
And then one of our other realtors asked, are reverse mortgage companies stopping the interest during this time?
I have not seen anything about reverse mortgage stuff right now. Non-QM is the only thing I was working on. I had a client that had spent $3,000 refinancing 5 properties, and they had said yes. I got the payoff notification, and then they got spooked and they dodged. And the broker that I'm working with out of California has access to 85 lenders. None of them are doing non-QM, or they say they are. They say we're open for business, but then they're asking for W-2s. They're asking for a lot of things that really aren't non-QM. It just becomes a standard QM loan at that point. So, but reverse, I have no idea.
Well, speaking of that, someone asked, do you think non-QM DSCR lending will come back soon?
I hope so, because it makes sense. What's going to be interesting to see is if the lending community will be a little forgiving for the next couple months. I mean, our community's seen it before during the downturn. Somebody's like, oh yeah, I had a short sale, you know, back in 2008. We all sort of said, yeah, didn't we all, kind of thing. I mean, we're all going through this as a nation. So I'm hoping that the lenders, when they receive their bailout, one of the caveats to that is that you've got to play ball and that we're going to protect you. But I know one of the issues with lenders that is if a loan is paid off within a certain period of time, the broker has to end up paying back commissions. Some things just have to change, and it's still too early to tell how they're going to make that adjustment. Your favorite place to build in Florida? Oh, we're building in Southwest Florida. But in order for our investors to even do so, I give them a 200-page book and I beat them up with everything from global warming to endangered species. I don't take it lightly. So be careful when you go out of state. Really know your stuff. Really know your stuff. Oh, by the way, I've also built in Orlando. I've built in several cities in Florida. I just really believe long-term in Florida, they're the #1 state for net domestic migration. And that migration is made up of people with money. And they're the #2 for immigration. So they've got two engines going. And I don't think the pandemic is going to change that. I actually think it's going to accelerate it. If you haven't read the book, Big Shifts Ahead by John Burns, please check it out. It's very smart.
Oh, we have a question. Why are you so cool?
Janessa, I will pay you later.
Anonymous
It wasn't me.
It was an anonymous attendee. Hey, Aaron, it was me that asked. But I think I asked you that first thing this morning when I saw how cool you looked.
Oh, my background? Yeah.
Oh, everything. You got the whole thing going on there.
I don't even know how to make it anonymous.
I don't either. Oh, also our CEO, Tony Capitelli, wanted to thank you also, Aaron, for taking your valuable time to spend with us. So
Of course.
Yes.
you're awesome.
Yes. And I really love what you touched on when it said like spread positivity. That's something that we've been trying to do at Tigar. We have our Young Professionals Network that has offered to deliver groceries or things that, you know, maybe older people or people who are immunocompromised need. But we're also doing Send a Smile, which is either kids or adults writing cards and drawing pictures. And we're going to send it to Peppermint Ridge, which is an adult special needs facility. And we're going to be sending it to some nursing homes. So if anyone wants to participate in that, please let me know. It's really a great thing to just spread cheer, whether you know these people or not. Just saying something loving or, you know, giving them a high five in a virtual way, whatever it may be. I think it's really important to make sure that you're also spreading that kind of positivity.
Kind.
I know
You know.
that the chamber, the Corona Chamber 2 is doing that initiative where they're feeding the first responders. Last I checked a few days ago, they had already raised $2,500 and we're delivering meals to the nurses that are really, you know, they didn't want them to have like box lunch. So they're working with local restaurants and paying for it. So check with the local chamber on that. Mary Barnett with Mobile Mary in Corona was involved in that. She called me about a week ago talking about this idea. And Mary Barnett, she's just a local rock star in Corona. So you guys are lucky to have her.
That's
Okay.
awesome. Well,
we
does
have
anyone
any?
else have any other questions for super cool Aaron Norris?
Oh, I have one last question, Aaron. I know you're going to love this. This is from your dad's presentation he did about, gosh, probably close to a year ago. And he predicted 0 interest rates.
No, he predicted 2% interest rates,
but
a Fed rate of 0. So yeah, his prediction, he wrote a report in 27 called 2% interest, 2% mortgage rates, 40 trillion in debt, and other surprise endings. We were really trying to get real estate investors to really not be greedy, to think of the gains that had been made and just diversify a little bit. So yeah, about a month ago, he hit the prediction of interest rates that started with the 2. And unfortunately, it's not like we're like, yay, we got it right. Not under the current circumstances. But unfortunately, our federal deficit is going to explode because of this. So yeah, not that we like those predictions that come true all the time, but we take trying to protect our industry pretty seriously. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate your time. You are super cool, and we hope you are very successful over there in Florida, but not too successful that you leave us completely out here in California.
It's humid. This hair just can't handle all the humidity. I
Well,
can
then
only
we
do
know
dry
you'll be
heat.
back.
I can only do dry heat.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of
You
the
too. Have an awesome week.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Erin.
Bye, Erin.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
No, not bye, everyone. Janessa, don't you have an announcement?
Me? I just said my my other announcement. I have multiple announcements. My brain is out of here. Okay. We are going to be closed tomorrow and Monday for the holiday. So
Okay.
if you need something from us Tiger peeps, call us now or wait until Tuesday.
Do you deliver?
No.
I want that clear because we have people asking for things that, no, we can't deliver.
I mean, like, I can go set it outside the office, but I don't want to. I don't want to leave my sheltering.
Right.
You should be able to order elsewhere. You should be able to problem solve. Us risking is not really something that's in our job description. We're not considered essential as staff. We're doing
I think
everything we
you're
can at
essential.
home. I
You
mean,
are
we're essential to
me.
help and like to take payments and things like that and troubleshoot, but actually delivering things, that's not essential in our business.
Somebody says they need to exchange my lock boxes. I need to pay as well for the leases.
Jenny, we have lock boxes on the front door of our office. And we can, give you codes for that after you pay for stuff. Just call us. If you have to pay for any of the leases, we have everything that we need here at home.
And Tony says you're essential to him. So just in case.
Of course we are. I mean, we're essential. It's just the whole delivery aspect of it.
Yes.
It's making something risky that doesn't have to happen. But I mean, we're trying our best to give everyone exactly what they need.
Jenny says, thank you. Jenny,
Yeah.
can borrow one.
If everyone needs
Oh,
deliveries,
Jenny, can you
then
borrow one of mine? That was
it'll
from
be hard.
Jeannie Halgerson.
Yeah. So does
I have a
anyone else have
couple.
other questions or?
Lots of thank yous. Thank you all for being here. Oh, next week we have a meeting on Thursday. And our speaker is going to be from ACA Relay for Life, Randy Stewart. We hope you'll attend. The more we see you, the better it is. So the more we hear from you, we know that everybody's out there doing the same things that we do. Rob Arietta, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Rob, for also Jackie and Janessa hosting and presenting. So.
Yeah, we're here. I'm excited. I'm glad we still get to be together on Thursday meetings. This is not an easy time for anyone, whether you're an introvert, extrovert, whatever. So I'm glad that we can still have our sense of community.
Yes.
Just online now.
My husband wants us to get back out. He's tired of painting. He's painted the kitchen, the family room. Oh, we're on the bathroom next. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Home makeover time.
You liked me a lot better when I was social.
He's like, you're like, don't you have a meeting? No.
Yeah, really. I said, I have to go to a meeting, but he doesn't know it's just in the next room. He gets all excited. Thank you, Sarah, for being here. Shannon, thank you. Thank you for being here. Donovan, see ya.
All right. Well, do we have anything else?
Have a great day, everyone. I don't think so. I think we're all done. Did you finish your breakfast?
I did. I had steak and eggs.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm fancy. So
you are. I hope everyone else had a great breakfast. Be safe out there. Remember, be nice.
And stay home.
And stay home. That's right. If you have any questions, you need any help, we're here for you. So make sure you contact your association. Our lovely people there are there available for you. And also your president, Jackie Barndollar Landry, I too am here for you. Thank you, everyone. I keep all these little great. Thank you. We are all in this together. Yes, Lisa Green, we are. Bye, Bonnie. Have a great day.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Love you too, Jenny. Bye.
They're leaving gradually. Have a great day. Bye, Bonnie. Kind of fun to watch them. Uh-oh, she's gone. She's out of here. Awesome. Have a great day. See you soon.